Lovely welcome to this new Jinkies transmission about the sixth Jinki, and today I'm back at my normal place, not in the mountains anymore, and this Jinki is insane. It's about the shadow of conflict, and as you know, we have a lot of conflict worldwide. We can look in every direction, especially human relationships. So if there's something going on for your life, this is a really big message from the Jinki. It can be in all of society, it can be in business, religion, science, everywhere can be some conflicts, and there are conflicts, and also conflicts between countries and a lot more. The gift is about diplomacy, which makes kind of sense, and the Siddhi is peace. So from conflict to peace, the journey. And I have made one very interesting, spontaneous, poetic video about the awakened nature of humanity. You can also check this, I put this here and put this also below. It's also related to this Jinki actually. And yeah, just for that you know, it's a really nice one I make with some nature, some poetic parts, how I see everything, and yeah, so also enjoy this one. The partner, the programming partner of this Jinki is the 36th Jinki, which goes from turbulence to compassion. I have this one at a very prominent position in my profile. Plus, I also have the 6th Jinki, not in the Jinkis, but in the human design 2 times. So I'm heavily related to this Jinki, and I had just recently certain breakthroughs about also desire, because also when we have desire, it can happen that this is a huge inner conflict depending on the kind of desire it is. And so this Jinki is really heavy. So as always, I also read the extracts from the book. And yeah, so let's start. The psychology of this one is a mesenteric plexus. I put this there where this is. I have to be honest, I have to check myself again. It's also written lumbar ganglia. I put a picture there for you. And the codon ring, the ring of alchemy. And we had the last 3 weeks, we had the 40 Jinki, we had the 47 and the 64 last week, and all of them are in that ring of alchemy. So there has been a lot of an alchemical process we just went through the last weeks. And maybe you have noticed in your life that somehow there was some change. You let some parts go that you were not able to let go, and you didn't even know that you had them maybe. So yeah, I go a little bit, there's a little bit about the other 3 Jinkis also in this Jinki, in the 6th written, so I go a bit later in that. Conflict, the shadow, it's the battle of the sexes. The 6th shadow of conflict is the single most influential Jinki in regard to the issue of human communication. At its highest potential, the 6th Jinki is the archetype of peace on earth. And whilst at its lowest potential, it is the root cause of all human conflict. This conflict stems from the human emotional system and our inability to handle the voltage of extreme emotional states. Conflict breaks out whenever 2 or more people agree to identify with their emotional state. So we are so much identified with that emotional state that we do not notice. And this happened also a lot of times to me. Also recently again, I noticed that I had some conditioning, some convincing, limiting, negative beliefs that I was not aware at a level to let them go. They were there, they were active, and I was thinking, oh yeah, this has been always like that, you know. And I was like, okay, it will not change because it has been always like that. And at some point I realized how bad of an influence this had on my life, and yeah, very constructive. So within the human body, the sixth shadow relates to the pH level of your blood. Its job is to maintain an optimum balance of acidity and alkalinity so that your cells can thrive. As a metaphor on a wider scale, we can see that the sixth shadow is about the loss of this balance in the world at large. In particular, this is about the imbalance between male and female, and over time has given rise to the notion of the battle of the sexes. And it's also for sure to religion, to science, to east, to west, to rich, to poor, all of that also like these conflicts where the two polarities cannot be in a balance and cannot see that both sides are relevant. So yeah, it's really mostly seen, and Jinkies for me really Jinkies is the most valuable teaching, spiritual teaching for human relationships. I experienced a lot of shifts, and just by reading like a Jinki like the 6th Jinki and other Jinkis like the 29, which is about commitment, and more, for example, the 30 is about desire, and at the highest about rapture. And so just to know that we have this spectrum of consciousness, and then catching myself where I am actively doing something that is really bad for me and for my relationships, for my for everything related to my relationships, from friends to more closer relationships in regards to women also. And I really noticed that this is a huge beneficial factor to read for me, this Jinkies. So it's written here at this 6th and 36th Jinki is really about the emotional structures, and also about the second chakra, which is the sacral chakra, and also the third chakra, which is the solar plexus, where the energy somehow is not able to ignite, and then we are able to not see as much as we should see. So emotional problems are the greatest cause of illness on our planet. And the 36th shadow of turbulence, the programming partner of this 6th shadow, reinforces this fact. The 36th shadow conditions you to be nervous when you feel uncertain or insecure about anything in life. So it's not so easy to find out when we have this nervous feeling, because we have to have this experience of this ultimate peace. And when we had this one time, then we are able to discover more what actually it means when we are in an insecure state, and there are like some nervous parts, and it can be anything. It can be nervous thoughts appearing, it can be some body functions, or getting tired, or anything. A lot of things can happen. And so this is really like something to contemplate, what Jinkies is about, to pause, to see, to reflect how the life have been, and to, especially if it's possible, to remember the state when we were small children, because at that stage we were at that peace. The earlier we are able to remember on that stages, the better it is. So if you can remember when you are below a year old, then this is definitely good. Just from the cellular structures, you are able to remember that. And so that's really important, because then you have this more peace, and you can also see the conflict better. So the biofeedback loop between these two shadows is rooted in nervousness and defensiveness. The 36th shadow makes you nervous, feeding the 6th shadow, which responds through making you behave defensively. Very interesting that it's really about defense also, conflict. It's very interesting. And the human beings are unconsciously addicted to conflict. We see this by, if we watch to Hollywood and watch movies, I cannot exclude myself. I really check to not watch violent movies anymore as much as possible. And I also don't feel the desire and the lust and the interest to watch violent movies. So, but it has been a big part of my life, actually. So everywhere in the movies today we have conflict, and so we can see through also this movie industry where we are the collective. We long for peace individually and globally, but our collective low frequency ensures that we keep reinforcing the patterns of conflict. Nowhere is this seen more clearly than in our relationships. The conflict between male and female is a part of the oldest wound there is, and it is hot-wired into our genetics. Yes, that's how it is. However, it's not bad, because everything has a reason, as you know, and also that we went through this conflict states, whatever, also has a higher reason as human beings. So let's find out what this is. It's the deepest irony of the sixth shadow to bring an end to conflict. You have to give up your attraction to the opposite sex. Think about that. You, for example, as a man now, you have to give up your attraction to the opposite sex. You would think like, why should I do that? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I cannot tell anything about it. I can just say that the shadow is really sneaky, and the negative belief systems we inherent from that reinforce very sneaky patterns that I was also not able to see for a long time. And yeah, leading to a lot of struggle and a lot of pain also. So the sixth shadow is not as frightening as it sounds when viewed in evolutionary terms. It is an ancient part of our genetics, and it has been a necessary part of our evolution. So it's really that it's necessary for the evolution that we are able to see also from what is good, what is bad, and especially what's written here also to maintain boundaries and borders. And it is about who is included and who is excluded, and its entire basis is defense. So it's really, the shadow is really interesting in that regard. And the sixth shadow is the reason we cannot create world peace until such time as human beings move through an emotional revolution at an individual level and find peace in our relationships. This shadow cannot be transcended. However, as we shall see, it is also written into our human story that revolutions do occur, and in fact one of the biggest is beginning right now. We can see that. We can see it through what happened with COVID over the world, because COVID forced a lot of families to have conflicts. A lot of families I know had to separate, had to be divided, because maybe the family had to spend more time together, or the family could not spend time together because maybe of different countries and they couldn't move to the same place. It created a lot of turbulences, and at the same time it creates a lot of potential, because also I was able to discover a lot of more of this limiting and negative beliefs and patterns I have in myself, and that I was not able to see when I just was in this normal flow mode. Because when you're in this normal flow mode, you normally don't see this, and the more you suffer, the more you are in pain also, which is, it sounds kind of sick and strange, but the more you are into the suffering and the pains, and you are honest with yourself and transparency is there, you are able to see the patterns, and you are able to change them. So that's all about Jinkies, to not reject the patterns of the shadow, to accept them, to embrace them, and to love them in an extent. So let's go to the natures. Repressive is over attentive. Repressive is always we put it more inside, we oppress it, we suppress our emotions. So it's written here, the repressive nature of the sixth shadow is concerned with maintaining peace between people, regardless of the cost. Very important. This pattern is based entirely upon fear, and means that these people will totally compromise themselves in order to maintain control of their emotional environment. This is the defense pattern of over-attentiveness, and these are the people pleasers. People pleasers, so they please everyone. The problem here is that unless conflict is dealt with transparency, it tends to eventually explode. We have to keep also some borders there. We cannot please everyone, and we cannot let everyone hurt us very deeply. The reactive nature is tactless. So tactless is like we project more, we believe others are the problem, we don't look too much within. So here it's written, the other side of this shadow is unable to control its emotions at all. Lack of emotional tact and timing betrays a low frequency nature that inevitably results in a backlash. These people are always finding themselves in difficult emotional situations, which they make worse by giving vent to their anger, as well as projecting it onto others. They are unable to take responsibility for their own volatile feelings and emotions. And the point is here that these people assume that the problem is always in the other person, which unfortunately earns them no friends and make it very difficult for others to get close to them. And the only kind of person who will remain such with such a pattern is the over-attentive nature described in the repressive nature. So it's like it goes together, but it doesn't go together if you are two reactive personalities, characters, and both always fight and struggle and tell you have the problem, you have emotional struggle, and the other one tells no, it's you, and no one is able to to keep a distance. And so if one person is telling you have the problem, and the other person is telling like maybe I have to check this and that, and then somehow it can work. So it's a very interesting shadow of the conflict. Let's check how we can solve a lot of our challenges we have worldwide, and it's all about the gift of diplomacy, dropping your defenses. This is the gift of diplomacy, the ability to adjust your own behavior to create a harmonious exchange with others. This gift is a byproduct of opening your heart to another person. We have to breathe, and we have to really expand our heart and consciousness and put the other also within our own conscious awareness, in a sense. As you become clearer about your own emotional conditioning, you begin to feel more peaceful. It's really like when you are more in this, you let your defenses down, and then a lot changes in your life. You have peace in thoughts more, in feelings. The body feels lighter. There's all of these effects. And you can really say that when you are diplomatic with others, also with yourself, with also your thoughts, what come up. And I know from my experience that a lot of times there are thoughts we don't like. There are thoughts come up, we say like, come on, why is this again like that? Why does this thought has to appear again? Or why do I have to feel like that again? Or why is like this and this? And in this way of reaction, we go into conflict, and we reinforce always like that thoughts. So we have to be diplomatic, and we have to be in peace at the end, to be able to transcend this loops, this behavior loops we're in. So, and that's this Chinky all about. And by being in a diplomacy, we also activate all other all of the other geniuses in our profile, all other gifts are activated in our profile, and also in general, all of the gene keys of the 64 are more active from the gift level. And this gene key, the 6th, is a major one. It's for me, it's also written from the Siddhi, you will notice later. This one is the major key that you can transcend out from a shadow to a gift level in all of the gene keys. So if you are not diplomatic with yourself, you cannot be, for example, let's say the 27th gene key, which is the gift of altruism, and the shadow is selfishness. If you are not able to be diplomatic with yourself and others, you will always be selfish also. You cannot have an altruism, you cannot be at the gift, because it's not possible to be at this altruism and selflessness level, which is a Siddhi, when you are not able to be diplomatic with yourself and others. And that's really important to understand, that it doesn't matter if you have the 27 or the 6th in your profile, because this one is a global collective one and a very active one in all of our profiles. So if one person is not playing the reactive blame game, the other is forced to come to terms with his or her own demons. It's just when some others blame you and you don't react and you just give them the energy back, then they have to deal with this demon, this energy, this low frequency. They have to deal with this convincing negative beliefs they have. There's no way that it got strengthened because you just return it back to them. You don't go into that energy. So for example, as an example, if one person in a relationship becomes aggressive, the diplomatic countermeasure is to absorb the aggression and then pass the energy back without adding anything to it. This may be done in any number of ways, but tactful honesty is one of the most common. Honesty creates an extraordinary power and is one of the keys of diplomacy. The other key is timing. You have to be honest in the right way and at the right moment. So for example, someone is aggressive and blaming and someone is going crazy to you, and directly you say, come on, be in peace, be nice. This could be actually backlashing. It could be the wrong timing to be like that. So it's really about finding the timing. You could also, the right timing could be that you just walk away and you make yourself a coffee. You don't even like react in anything to it, and maybe in 2-3 days, when that person that was crazy and aggressive before, 2-3 days after, that person is in his harmony and normal, and then maybe you can tell what actually happened 2-3 days ago. You somehow you went a bit crazy. Somehow you were a bit loud and something happened. And so at that time, that person may be able to reflect it better and the timing is better. So that's how you can see it with timing and diplomacy, which is very important. I have to train that also myself, because it's really hard when you, to return non-love with love, and then also at the right timing, at the right time and everything. And it's one of the hardest things we have to learn to transcend to these higher frequencies. These people can physically feel into another person's aura. They can do this because it is a specific genetic gift, and also because they are emotionally mature. Emotional maturity means that your awareness operates even during the most profound emotional states. Exactly what I told just now, that when someone is, for example, aggressive towards you, and then you know exactly, okay, wait, this is now not a good time to react or to tell anything. Maybe just make a coffee, make food, have a walk, whatsoever, do something, and at some point, maybe in an hour or two, that person that was aggressive is relaxed again, or in some days maybe. And yeah, so you have to find your own way of being diplomatic. And it's all about being able to read the person's aura, the energy, and then you apply what is the best in that situation. When you operating out of this sixth gift, you can sense conflict in others before it even arises. This enables you to temper your own actions and or words to disperse the conflict. Very interesting. Is a bit like a psychic ability in a sense that you already sense, oh, there's someone like, if I sell something now, he's probably going crazy. And so the gift really is about to prevent it, and at the same time to make the other person realize, wait, this is not a state that will help me now, and it will also not help the other person. So yeah. The sixth gift catalyzes the process of dissolving the natural friction between opposites, and in doing so it allows a far greater exchange of energy between them. This is exactly what the experience of falling in love is. This Chinky is about the codon rings, the different alchemy, and it's formed by these 4 Chinkys, which is the 6th we have now here, the 40, which is resolve at the gift level, the 47, which is the 47, which is transmutation, and the 64, which is imagination. And those 4, it's written here, whose team, actually it's written here, but it's always good to learn, right? And to remember and to practice again. So whose themes are diplomacy, resolve, transmutation, and imagination, respectively. This is a very powerful genetic grouping. The 6th gift is breaking down the barriers in human relationships. The 40 gift is forging this new openness into our communities. The 47 gift is allowing us to transform our old ways, and the 64 is opening us to a fresh set of possibilities for living in new ways. So at a collective level, therefore, every person manifesting this 6th gift is a participant in this deep alchemical process of gradually bringing peace to earth. And I found it very interesting because the last 4 weeks, I was at my personal retreat where I was able to focus on my project. I did a lot of videos. You can check at the end of this video and below the link to all of the videos I did previously also. And I really noticed there was a major change for me. And it took time. It took until the last week that I noticed how big of a change it was. And it was really emotional for me because I realized like I did some really unconscious bad things that hurt other people, and I did not know why I did it like that. So it was really unconscious. And so this 4 alchemical chinkies in 4 weeks is really a month of really big transmutation. It can be really, really big when we are honest to ourselves, when we are transparent and we check in within us. So let's go to the Siddhi, which is peace. Peace, peace, peace. Building the body of glory. The ultimate defense is emptiness. This is the essence of the wisdom taught by the great sages. Defense maintains the illusion that we are separate. Yeah. There's a famous story called The Empty Boat, told by the Chinese sage Chuan Tzu. One day, one old man was crossing a river in his boat when he mistakenly collided with another boat. The men in the second boat began shouting at the old man, cursing him. However, to the second man's dismay, the old man did not react in any way whatsoever, but just stared at him impassively. The old man was an enlightened being who had transcended all sense of his own individuality. For him, there was no one in his boat to be shouted at. Thus, there was no one to defend, and therefore no reaction within his being. You have to think about that. So there was one guy in the boat hitting another guy's boat, and the other guy just get aggressive and blah, 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 and the other one that hit the boat did not react, because it's like he is immersed in nature with the boat, but there was no individual person. There was really, like, for him, he was not even there. He was just in the nature, and he was like, there is some kind of event happen, but it's nothing to do with me. I'm just in this peaceful state. You just have to look at Eckhart Tolle, and you have to read his book and all of this. Like, he's really like this kind of peaceful state. So the sixth siddhi of peace is one of the truly great siddhis. It is the underlying nature of all the siddhis. In point of fact, it is the underlying nature of form itself, once its true essence has been released as consciousness. The sixth siddhi is the final result of the process that occurs in the sixth gift. The sixth gift is marked by a constant balancing of the opposites, good and bad, and always, it's exhausting, right? I know. Yeah, but some point we come to transcend. In this sense, diplomacy requires a subtle effort, since it is a jungling within the realms of duality. However, at a certain point, this process spontaneously gives way to the sixth siddhi, and duality itself is transcended. This is also the message of Beyonduality, of what I got over 2 years ago, that I name my blog and my project Beyonduality. It, in a sense, it also has to do with this and a lot of more. So you might say that whilst the sixth gift is an activity that maintains peacefulness, the sixth siddhi is peace itself. Peace is the reality that is experienced once all boundaries have dissolved. It is the true nature of humanity. Peace is an auric emanation that surrounds anyone in a siddhic state. In this siddhic state, the awareness within your being separates from your emotional nature. It rises up and floats upon the vibrations of your emotional longings. And this is a spontaneous process that cannot be caused by anything within your individuality, since it is that very individuality that has to die. The underlying emotional energy that was previously experienced as longing is now experienced as peace. How beautiful. Yeah, it's really insane. Siddhi is always about the dissolvement of the body, of feeling we have to defend for something, we have to fight. If others attack us, we don't care. We are just in peace, and all is good, all is good. In a way like this. We are like nature. If you hit a tree doesn't give anything, he's just standing there. If you hit at a tree, there's no reaction. So this is people that have like this. So it's also written here, the final boundary, the boundary of your body dissolves. When this occurs, awareness is no longer localized in the body, but is experienced as traveling through all forms. You realize that all of life is alive, and that even though the awareness within a form may dissolve as the form passes away, the consciousness behind this game of life and death always remains. And now I put it out. Paradoxically, at the same time, this very emptiness is flooded flooded like the sea. You're flooded by water, by everythingness. Profound changes occur within your physical body before, during, and after this realization. Since your outer walls have dissolved, the process is mirrored within your body chemistry, and all inner conflict comes to an end. It is as though all the cells within your body make peace with each other and experience their own inner Garden of Eden. In this sense, the true Garden of Eden is the body itself. To be in the physical presence of the sixth siddhi is to abase your body in its truth. It is to experience greater awareness than your own, traveling physically and emotionally through your body. So it's really, I don't know at which stage exactly I am. I know that I have a big relating part to this Chinky because I have the 36 as a main also in my profile, and I always knew, even before Chinky, when I reflected and I made my profile and I saw, oh, turbulences is one of my main shadows, and the conflict, I could reflect it a lot in a lot of different ways what happened in the past, even before I actually knew about Chinkies. So, and it's really interesting to see where I am heading, where others are heading. So it's really about, there's this physical body, then I know I have the mental and the emotional body and part and emotions and mental, the thoughts and everything. And I see it separate more. For example, if someone attacks me now, whatever, maybe physically I would be still going crazy or do something. However, like mentally or emotionally, I am more stable. I say like, okay, you talk through a wall, you talk to a tree. Like if you hit a tree or talk to a tree, it doesn't give anything. It just sits there and it's just a tree. It doesn't shout back or is annoyed or hurt or anything. So I noticed for me that this state more and more comes in some sense. I don't know in which state I am. I hear more and more people that they believe and say like, oh, you are like a peace. There's some part seems like a bit like some other people, very peaceful. So I don't know in which stage I am. It's a journey. And the journey has to be discovered, and I'm happy that I'm getting more aware of some patterns myself. So the sixth siddhi is the original and future state of humanity. From it stem our myths and memories of paradise and our intuitions and highest hopes for the future. When this state dawns inside you, your body begins to mutate, and in a sense, it is trying to build a better vehicle to house this intense new frequency. But the raw materials are not fully present yet. So it's really like changing our genetics even at the physical level. Skin mutations. I had actually skin mutation. Something like that. Something transcends, something changes because the body needs to be purified, it needs to be built differently, and that can be very painful also and suffering in some sense. And we have to be at peace with when really something insane like that happen. So, and the ultimate boundary is our skin, and one effect of the siddhi can be mutations in the skin, as I had in some sense. These mutations affect the way in which skilled cells trap light, so that the skin of someone manifesting this siddhi can appear to be translucent. And when you also are more into the 47 Chinky, which is transfiguration at the highest at the siddhi, it can also be seen as there's like this mystical stories about the rainbow body where you can just see more the body glowing. So yeah, I didn't see one yet. It would be fun at some point when we are able to see people that can do it. On a collective level, the sixth siddhi will be the very last siddhi to fully mutate in the coming shift in global consciousness. Only when peace is recognized on Earth as the natural state of our collective consciousness can the future vehicle of humanity be built. In other words, the myth of world peace is the pretext for building the future body that will take us beyond form itself. Yeah, again, poetic end about this Chinky. I leave you with some small breathing relaxations. As you can see, this is a very important Chinky. So share this video with as many people as you know that maybe are not aware of Chinkys yet. I also do these videos because I want that people that are not even able maybe to afford the book, whatever, they say like, oh, I don't want to pay this 10 euros or 20 euros or 5 euros for the Kindle, that are at least able to get to know the Chinky teachings. And also by my experiences and how I put it together, I think it's very unique, it's special. No one is doing it exactly like I am doing it. So I really wish and hope that it's helping you. That's my gift for you. And besides also the articles I'm doing on my blog, you can also check everything below. And so thank you very much for watching this awesome video with me. As a last gift, I can give you the mudra. The mudra is a hand signature sign from this Chinky, and this is, you just put the one here. I have to check because I have the microphone here. The one hand you put here, and the other hand you put over like this on the heart, on the middle of your center. And you just breathe in deeply, and that is the mudra of this Chinky peace, which is, you put the hands above here. I hope I'm doing it in the right like it. It should be like this, not like that. So the right hand is below and the left hand is above, and you put it here. And you just take some breaths and probably know how you feel more relaxed. So this is a small gift, the mudra of the sixth Chinky. Thank you again very much, Dominic, and see you in the next transmissions. Bye bye.